It's time. That's right, you weren't ready, but now you should be ready. And you know why you should be ready? Because this is going to be Game 5 of PranksterGangster versus Rynus. It started off yesterday on a Sunday, as most days preceding Sundays are. Yep, banned for an hour. And banned for an hour. Just in case anyone wonders how I feel about such things. So, streaming PranksterGangster versus Rynus Game 5 on... Come on. Twitch.tv/ItanoCircus with 1R. Thank you. Excellent. So this is going to be Game 5 of the best of 5 between PranksterGangster and Rynus. This is for the winner. They're in the winner's semifinals. Whoever wins this goes to winner's finals. Whoever loses this goes all the way over to the end of the loser's bracket. Seems pretty good, right? That's pretty awesome. It started off as a dismal series for PranksterGangster. Rynus got 2-0, and Rynus even got a win over on Jade Waddy, but somehow PranksterGangster had a combination of mental resilience and fortitude. He held back a seemingly endless array of worker pulls and mech pushes off of 2 and 3 bases from Rynus over on Thieves' Isle. Then it went to a Game 4, and the Game 4 was on Stream Junction. And although he played a very, for the matchup, unorthodox, heavy wolf snake style, he nevertheless was able to use the map advantage and possibly the matchup advantage to go ahead and beat Rynus in a very long macro game on Game 4. And so we are here now. This is where we find ourselves, waiting and awaiting the final game between these two people. Rynus is currently in a match, and PranksterGangster is currently sitting in a lobby, so excellent. I believe Visix said that Richmond Park was the final map. That's my understanding, at least. I'm not the person who organized this event. I'm merely the person who is assisting in casting this event. Man, I really wish I could cast these noodles directly into my stomach without going through the process of eating them. Just, you know what I mean? Just like, can I? It was changed to Sylvan Charm. C'est intéressant. You would know better than I would. Itano, you want invite to the tourney Discord? Yeah, man, absolutely. I'm not going to say no to that. 100%. I'm not the person who organized this event, but I am here because I enjoy good games. And this threatens to be a very, very good set of games. Hype winner games. Prankster. So right now, Rynus is in a match, I believe. PranksterGangster is setting up. He's sending me an invite to the tournament Discord. Apparently, there was one that was started by Visixfan of all people. So I'm going to join into it. My understanding was that it was going to be on Richmond Park. Turns out that's not. Turns out that's actually going to be on Sylvan Charm. And if it's Game 5, here's the thing. There was strong hype going at, Little War Game Cup series. That's interesting. Okay. Yeah. So what's interesting about this is as follows. The first 2 games were won by Rynus. One was even on Jade Waddy. The next 2 were won by PranksterGangster. And yes, I know, Stream Junction, Mech versus Beast, as Rynus would say. No, but at the same time, there was the threat of the reverse sweep. And now most of that momentum has been killed because we went from day 1 and we were just like, all right, time to cut it here at 2-2. I was like, what? What? Can we continue, please? Turns out that no, we don't get to continue. We don't get to do anything more. Doot. Charmin. So I have a bunch of videos that I have to go through and make on my personal YouTube channel once this is over, because I have a million hours worth of recorded content for this weekend that I believe needs to be put up. And then I have to make a video for the Little Wargame RTS channel, and I'm also working on something for the tutorials in the background, and I'm providing all of this as background information while we're waiting to see what happens next, because we are waiting for this best-of-5 final game, but it requires Rynus to not be in a match, first and foremost. When are the games? TLDR? Yeah, it keeps flashing black when I alt-tab. There is a solution. So that if I do this, you can't tell when I'm alt-tabbing or not, but then you have to face the reality that I'm, you know what I mean? It's not full screen. It just looks kind of weird, you know what I mean? I need a second monitor is the simple solution. What I actually mean, in truth, is to find a way to hook up the second monitor I already have. I need to go to like Best Buy or something like that, but they're probably closed because of coronavirus. So I'm probably going to have to find a means to get something in so that I can order online to get it in so that I can have like a multi-switch or something like that so I can set up the monitors appropriately, because right now there's this monitor, this is it. This is the monitor, and that is all there is. A second monitor would solve those problems because I would just keep all of the stream information over on the monitor over here, and then this would just be the thing that I'm focusing on the primary screen, and this is where the camera would be focusing and pointing, you know, all these good things. You know what I need? A sponsorship by Maru-chan. That would be great. It would be an interesting sponsorship, though. Hi, I'm ItanoCircus. I know you've been watching me eat food on stream, and this is Maru-chan Instant Lunch. It's not instant, and you'll need more than one of them to make lunch, and in fact, it's terrible from a sodium perspective. But nevertheless, I ingest the salt of people playing against me and watching games I cast in my content all the time. So if you are a salt connoisseur, provision your requirement of salt for the day with Maru-chan Instant Lunch. That's right, I prefer right now the hot and spicy chicken ramen. You might prefer the beef. It means you have no taste, but there you go. I don't think any sponsor would be fine with me saying one of your flavors means your clients have no taste. But it would be true. I would make it a little sexier than that. I would be like, you know, I personally like the hot and spicy chicken. I also enjoy the shrimp or just the regular chicken. Some people enjoy the assortment of other flavors such as beef. And if you're one of those people, more power to you. Head over on to Maru-chan Instant Ramen. You can find this in literally anywhere for about 25 cents. Yes, Maru-chan Instant Ramen, the food for poor college students. That's not good. One second. We have returned. You know, I'm looking forward to the games when they actually happen. The problem is that we're still waiting for the conditions under which, when Rynus is available, PranksterGangster is available. We may be getting into something here. Let's take a look at the alt and the tab, and what do we find? We're going to move this way down here where it belongs. We have a Kaitaro comment. Yes. All right. Yes. Okay. Do. Yes. All right. Ready to play Rynus? Where there are conversations as to who is bad and who is not. So here, let me go ahead and copy this. I have to change the I and the C so that instead of popping up /ItanoCircus, so it shows up /ItanoCircus instead of just showing as my face. That's quite an old emote, in fact. I do like that it's there, though. It's just interesting. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, excellent. Here we are, deep in the bowels of Sylvan Charm. We have Game 5. I think what's important to note here is that there's a lot of this is actually riding on PranksterGangster's shoulders, because I don't know Rynus. I only think there are a couple of people who could really deal with him down in the losers bracket, but PranksterGangster has been doing this the entire tournament. 2-1 to advance, 2-1 to advance, 2-1 to advance, and he got here, and frankly, I predicted it would be like a 3-1 in Rynus' favor, and PranksterGangster were like, you had a little bit of a Cinderella run, now to go down into losers and face a bunch of people who are just going to smack on you a little bit. But again and again and again, he has exceeded expectations, and just the sheer quality of the games that he played. Yes, it was Stream Junction, and yes, he is Beast on the Beast side of the Beast versus Mech matchup, but at the same time, just the quality of doing it, the way he managed to do it when Rynus had a very clear game plan with how to proceed. AC, I don't know if you saw that match. That was actually very, very long and involved, and frankly, it ended at a point where Rynus had taken up the entire upper left, like his corner of the map, and was making a push up to the left-hand side towards the 4th base, 6th base locations in the middle and the upper left corner, and PranksterGangster just kept surrounding him with wolves, pulling some workers to body block, maintaining high vision on the high ground, made a bunch of towers, all this goodness, right? And eventually, Rynus just ran out of steam, and he didn't have enough workers to even continue pulling workers for his push to have the force behind it that was necessary. I'm super hyped, says JY. And Thurk says, I wish Slammer was around. He's probably my favorite little wargame caster. To each their own. I would say that I'm not my favorite little wargame caster, if that makes sense. But I appreciate all the people who are here in the chat, because that means you had a choice between choosing nothing and choosing me, and frankly, you chose me. I appreciate it. Yeah. Sorry, JY. Why is Thurks just running JY into the ground like this? Yeah, you also can. Yep, my shit won't lag at all. The guest, however, is not going to be joining. How many maps did Daz actually make for this game? People play Sylvan Charm still as well? Yeah, kick specs and go is my reasoning. Oh shit, physics is on. Okay, bye specs. Not me, I mean specifically Thurks and Glaba, right? Not Thurks and Glaba, Thurks and JY. Okay. Sick. Hi, YouTube. Sick. Okay, here we go. That's actually going to be pretty interesting. I don't know. I don't think I've ever heard Glaba cast before. If I have, it's been a very long time. Can I cast? I mean, are you going to be around to cast the other games as well? I'm not opposed. I don't like doing things at the last minute like that. That's the problem, really. That's how I see it. What? What? Look, the thing is that's also kind of bothering me is I don't know when the rest of the games are going to pick up. AC, I'd love to have you around for the cast for the rest of the games if you're going to be around for them. But if it's like a one-off thing, like I know you would like to watch the game as well, but it's a little like, you know what I mean? Is that mac and cheese? Glaba has an extremely sexy voice. Is that mac and cheese? No, the food that I've got here is actually Maruchan instant lunch. That's right, it's all the instant lunch needs that you could ever have for the 21st century. Take a look at this. It's Maruchan instant lunch. Okay, I know, Camille. Reasonable. Yeah. Oh man, Rynus, I couldn't even sleep last night. Well, I was slightly disappointed because lost the momentum, but whatever. Okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I think they're just waiting for everything to get set up over on the Glaba Visixfan side of things. Hey, IQ boy, how's it going? I should make some noodles to watch this too, or to eat while I watch. Yeah, of course. 5 viewers, hype, of course. I think we had 18 or something like that yesterday. It was truly amazing. Yeah, that'll be interesting to watch. AC Glaba Visixfan. Credit to you guys if you managed to make it work. Tubbo is live with 33,000 viewers. I'm not. I don't have 333,000 viewers. I know that's amazing. I know that's surprising, but imagine if Itano got. You know what I would do if I had 333,000 viewers? Imagine lags from 3 cast persons. That would be terrible. Yes, I'm with Rynus. Can we begin? That goes without question. All right, once physics gives the go-ahead, I'll ask Rynus and then start. Hi. AC and Glaba wilding in the call right now. Sexy voices galore. Are they all sexy voice? Like, I've heard Glaba's voice before. But it's just a voice I've known for years, so I don't think of it as any, like, especially different voice, if that makes sense. AC's way of talking is, like, he just has a little bit, I think, of an accent from where he's from that is distinct, and I think there's just a cultural thing that, oh, cool, 8 viewers. And I appreciate all of you who are showing up for this. Like I said, this is going to be game 5. PranksterGangster versus Rynus. Here is the problem that I think Rynus is going to face. Look at this map. Are drops going to be good? Yes, drops look like they're going to be really good for the mech play. No, J-Lord. No, J-Lord. You can go do something else. So the problem is, I think that, well, here's how I'm going to set it up, right? I think that Rynus can do a lot of damage with drops. If he can get, like, catapult and then elevator over to this location, over the little bit of the blip of a ridge, and then go over that way, then he'll be fine. He'll do a ton of damage to this. This is likely going to be the natural. Sometimes this is taken as the natural, so that the third is over here, tucked away in a corner. And if that happens, I think that Rynus is going to find a lot of utility. I do expect that he's going to go for the mill play that he did previously, because there is a lot of airspace. The problem is, like, look how big this map is, and look how exposed a lot of these bases are. Yes, there's this ring in the center, but the problem with the ring in the center is this. If once someone controls that ring, no, for all the bases that are over here at the 11, 8, 5, and 2. It's just not a thing that happens, right? And then we look at the bases over here. Sure, an airship could drop units off very easily and get over there, but by the same logic, actually, Visix is trying on new hats before starting the game, apparently. Dude, he wants that cowboy hat. Someone in the chat suggested that I should get a cowboy hat. I was like, I don't know. AC sounds very excited sometimes. Yeah, no, AC can be excited. I've never said that AC is, like, boring or uninteresting or has anything like that going on. That's just not the case. He's a very, very interesting person. He has a lot to say, and he has thoughts that he expresses well. Not a problem. Again, the only problem for me was he asked at the last minute if he could cast with, and then there was no guarantee that he was going to be casting the other games as well. If he was casting the other games as well, you know what? Yeah, maybe we do that anyways. But everyone is saying, all right, let's go. Starting 3, 2, 1. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to bore you with the player intros the way that I have been doing previously. We're just going to quickly get them out of the way and then talk about the context of who these people are and how they managed to get to this point in the series. Again, this is winners, semis, finals. And in the upper left-hand side, he's won every match by going 2-1 and just managing to eke out victories game in and game out. But you know what? 2-1 path over here has done him well so far. It's PranksterGangster. And in the bottom right-hand side, this is the first series where his nerves are being tested. The first series where he's even lost a game. He was cheesed by people like Visixfan and Hero of Ages, but he nevertheless stood strong. And now that he's showing some chinks in his otherwise invulnerable mech armor, it's Rynus. Wait, what? You better actually... Yes, Human versus Works is actually hype as fuck. I actually have an idea as to how that game is going to go, but we're not going to go too deeply into it. The biggest question I have here for Rynus is he going to expect are either player going to cheese? And the thing is, by the positioning of the workers and the way that they haven't been sent out appropriately yet, I think that both of them are saying, you know what, this map is gigantic. Rynus, on the part of PranksterGangster, he doesn't really want to throw this to a cheese that doesn't manage to make itself work. Rynus, on the other hand, he's probably comfortable with all the expansion opportunities he's going to get from the base of this size. But we see the worker moving out. And does this indicate that it's going to go ahead and build a workshop? Is this a standard build over here for Rynus? And it seems to be. Just a normal looking workshop over there. Don't want to lose to anything too crazy. And PranksterGangster's following the same logic. This is no proxy 2-den, the likes of which would be very unlikely to get anything done against the mech player. No, this is just a 1-den. This just says, hey, I know that Rynus, he's a mech player. In game two of this series, Rynus started off against PranksterGangster by doing a proxy shop, like a proxy workshop, and catapults and tower pushes. And again, that was barely held by PranksterGangster when he had 2-den. So he thinks I'm just going to die if I go ahead and go for a fast expand, and that happens again. And so both players are playing with caution, and I expect that we're going to see something very interesting, probably very long. Look at the architecture of this map. It's so large. There are so many mines. It's even taking my screen a couple seconds to identify where all the locations are. And now the worker is going out. And is this worker going out for a scout, or is it no? It's just checking to make sure there are no nearby proxies, that there are no shenanigans. But if we look over on Rynus' side, no shenanigans are even in place. He has no plans to do anything out of the ordinary or unexpected. Nope. Just as if you queued him up for a macro game for practice, this is just simple, normal, by the book. No, it's not, because Rynus is going for a mill. And now here's the thing. Remember the air distance that we talked about before? Rynus has known this entire series that what PranksterGangster has wanted and what he's aimed for and what he's going for the entire time has been Beast. And mills can be an excellent interaction point against the Beast player because they don't have really great anti-air. They have the snakes, but it takes a couple of them. And they don't have the range that the gyrocrafts have, and they certainly don't have the speed to keep up with them. Also, note all the areas that these gyrocrafts can retreat to, the snakes can never follow behind. And so this is going to be a bit delayed, but I think PranksterGangster, he has the information he needs to know that something is amiss, especially since his own castle is starting up now, and he looks over there and the first wolf didn't see any expansion. Does the second wolf see any expansion? No, it doesn't, and that's the indication that something is going horribly wrong. And so let's see what the preparation is. Castle is going down over here, sure, but is there going to be a tower? No. Another den. He fears the worst. He fears that it's actually going to be a double workshop, but that's not what's coming up. Maybe that's just his plan. He's going to go ahead and use this to build more snakes, but he's got to get a lot of tech up soon. And soon, in fact, is what is on the menu. The mill has actually finished, and is the first unit flying out yet? No, but this wolf has been kicked back. The base has been started, so this won't be an all-in move over here from the part of Rynus. This is more of a field test. Like, hey, just in case you're not doing anything too greedy, wouldn't want you to be doing 1-den into 3 bases or anything ludicrous like that. And as the gyrocraft gets through, halfway done, another wolf is making its way across because information is key. This is the pivotal game 5. Neither player wants to lose to anything silly, and PranksterGangster knows that Rynus is more than capable of pulling half a dozen workers, pushing across the map and doing something unbelievably painful to him. He barely withstood 4 to 5 separate waves of that in game 2, and He lost to it in game 2, and he barely held it off in game 3. And now here we are all the way over in game 5. He's building the Snake Charmer. He wants to have that range because even though they're not great anti-air units, they can help. They can do something useful. But the Wolves now have an idea of how committed this attack is and the form that it might take. The fact that the Gatling gun is still here indicates that this isn't going to be a Gatling push. The timing is all kind of like Willy Wonka wrong, like some kind of oddity for anything like an airship with catapults. So it has to be gyrocraft. The Snake Charmer is actually finished, and where are the first snakes? Snake number 1 and snake number 2 were coming over like thing 1 and thing 2, but this tower unfortunately should have been thunk again because this was made a little bit too late. So there is going to be some free damage over here from the gyrocraft. It takes about 10 hits for a gyrocraft to go ahead and kill one of these workers, so maybe one of these workers will go down, possibly a second one, though it seems very unlikely with these 2 snakes here to kick the unit back. Yes, the gyrocraft can win 1v1, but it's more than content to get its 1 victory and then run away. And this is actually excellent pressure over here on the part of Rynus. In doing this and forcing the tower, he has made sure you're not going for a fast third base. And in fact, this location right here is fantastic. The house was built forwardly so that more information could be gathered, much like in a Kaitaro-like fashion that Rynus has taken down before. We've seen this where the house is placed forward for the purpose of gathering information and knowledge, but now that location is actually working against him. The snakes can't do anything. The range over here on this unit, yes, it's 2.5, but the range is only 3 for snakes, and although the gyrocraft is outranged by the snakes, how are the snakes ever going to find the physical area? This house is going down, and there's nothing that can be done except to tax the APM and be a permanent financial drain on the part of PranksterGangster's economy. He has to repair this house as he's going for his third base now, and 38 at 50 is a terrible spot to be in. Meanwhile, we look over here in the bottom right. Yes, more jukes in, more dives in from the Wolves. This Wolf gets away with a sliver of health. It's panting, but don't worry, it's going to regenerate that. It's going to be breathing pretty well and heartily soon enough. But now there's a second mill, and this second mill actually masks how many gyrocrafts have been made in the background. There's 3 of them now. If numbers 4 and number 5 can come out from behind the supply block that this house will alleviate PranksterGangster from, it's possible that he'll have a flock of 5 to 6 gyrocraft. This one gyrocraft never got tired of the work that it was doing over here. Is it ever going to get tired of it? No, almost certainly not, but good focus from Rynus to pull it away. And if this joins the small troop that exists over here that are now being built, this will be 6 gyrocraft. It only takes 5 gyrocraft to 2-shot a worker. This will be a roving band of units, but actually the timer is being put on Rynus. He is not on a third base yet, and it seems very likely he's going to use this not as an all-in tactic, but to buy the space and buy the time that he needs. Once this house completes, maybe he's going to go for his own expansion with these being built, and that's going to be his harassment squad. And there we go. The worker is moving down. The worker has a plan, and its plan is to expand. That's right. It's an architecture major, and it's not afraid to construct castles. It knows exactly what it wants, and gold is on the mind. And this means now PranksterGangster is not going to have the base economy advantage for too much longer. He has it for about a minute while that castle builds, but he's also had to build a couple of towers and been on the defense in a way that Rynus has not been. And with these towers up, it buys him safety, sure, for now, but this is Rynus we're talking about. This is mech we're talking about. And while there are now 4 dens, and the weakness of this animal testing lab is going to be taken down such that this house cannot be picked apart so easily by 1 or 2 gyrocrafts, I think PranksterGangster is about to discover that more than 1 or 2 gyrocrafts are a concern, because he only has 1, 2, 3 snakes available. 1 snake down, another snake over here, and this will be the last 3 snakes available. There's no tower over here. This is the presumed natural, and it was thought this isn't a problem. How could this possibly be a problem? We could just go ahead and bring over the snakes and all will be well, but more snakes have to come over there from the natural. And the thing is, the snakes aren't grouping up ever, and because the snakes aren't grouping up and this tower isn't going up, this is a lot of damage that Rynus is dealing with this pack. This wasn't meant to be a game-ending force. This was meant merely to prod and see what the tech is and maybe get a little bit of damage done, but now the natural has been completely evacuated. The third has gone up uncontested and unmolested over here for Rynus. It has not been touched in the slightest. There is now a tower with a couple of catapults, and the workshop production is increasing, and these wolves know they won't find anything, but PranksterGangster is trying desperately to find any edge he can. This house is going down for the same reason. The tower is eventually going to go up. It wasn't actually fully destroyed over here, but on the part of Rynus, PranksterGangster will be able to secure his natural, but this will be quite an annoying group of units, especially if they've managed to find any interest or attack to this house, or if they manage to circle back here before the tower finishes. There are a small amount of snakes, but one snake for each gyrocraft doesn't matter. They're not enough anti-air. They do terribly against air units, and this tower finishing is actually what PranksterGangster needs, but he's lost so much. A house has gone down, a den has gone down, and he has ceded the air control that was never in his favor, but now even the ground game may not be in his favor. Look at this. We're getting onto 3 catapults, 4 catapults, and spoked wheels. This is going to be a push, ladies and gentlemen, and I think Rynus isn't interested in going for a 4th base. He says, I've done more damage than I expected. He's adding on another workshop, and of course the advanced workshop, so that he can make drops more powerful. The advanced workshop did successfully go up here over on the part of PranksterGangster, but the problem is this is a 1-2 punch, and PranksterGangster is now down in supply as the beast player up against the mech player, and I don't believe a single one of these gyrocraft, no, one of these gyrocraft were actually taken out, but the others were very low in health. But low health is the same as full health with a speedy unit like this. 4.1 speed, navigating all the way back to the natural, where a bevy of workers will wait to encircle them and repair them like Model T Fords with that Henry Ford automated Eli Whitney interchangeable parts. That's right, because the hit points are interchangeable when repair does all the work that you need. And Ryan is showing some good splitting and awareness. He says the only way I'm going to lose this game now is if you have a 4th base I don't know of, especially in advance of my push. I've hurt one of your production facilities, and I've done a bit of damage to your supply, damaging, like killing this house, forcing you to build not 1, but now you've even overbuilt a 2nd advanced workshop. Was that intended, or is that just the fear that PranksterGangster has? And this den is also down. PranksterGangster feeling a bit lost. 400 gold, but what is he going to do with all of it? And there's, ooh, there we go. This is going to be a very aggressive game, ladies and gentlemen, especially since Rynus is built up so many forces and done so much damage, and he is still ahead in supply, a nearly 20 supply ahead in supply, and the beast player is trying to out macro him. He's trying to out expand him, but can he overcome the supply deficit? I don't even know if this number of snakes are sufficient to fight 5 fully healed gyrocraft. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but the biggest problem is there's not just gonna be that. Look at all of these catapults. They're more than happy to move out, and the thing is, now that they're moving out, yes, some interest here, some intrigue. The wolf tries to get through, the wolf jukes, the wolf jives, and the wolf manages to get through. And what does it see that's of interest? Well, the problem is it doesn't see much that's of interest, but what we know that's coming are all of these gyrocrafts, and we've got to see what the plan is. Right now, look at this. There's an airship going off. Ooh, taking advantage of the pseudo island that would be a 3rd or natural and another main base, and Rynus is saying, I'm going to use that to take my 4th base. It's going to take so long for you to take that. Yes, you're faster on the ground. Yes, you're a beast. Yes, you can get there quickly, but look, I can support this with catapults over here from my 3rd. A brilliant discovery, a brilliant use of space over here from Rynus. And now towers are going down, and this is the thing that PranksterGangster did that made him so dangerous and so successful in the last game, because he was playing on Game 4 and Stream Junction, and rather than fight purely with units, he made a bunch of towers for the purpose of delaying the push and making things a little more difficult for Rynus to overcome. But the problem is that Rynus is now taking a 5th base, and he is pushing directly towards the beast player. The faster race is not macroing away from this. No, PranksterGangster is going into this. He is willing to go into the infight. He is boxing. He has his red gloves, and he's willing to put the 9 ounces on those mitts and go full bore against Rynus, perhaps buoyed by his success that he had on Stream Junction just 1 map ago. But now Rynus has a very easy reinforcement path, and that reinforcement path lines up into the benefit of this extra snake. The wolf has managed to get through, and it sees all these units. Why are these units on the low ground, and does he see it? Yes, he tickles the castle and knows there's another castle over there. This forward position is now being taken, and it's a question of what this airship is going to do. Is this airship going to go ahead and drop units? No, it seems to have 2 workers and a ballista. It fears the power of the gyrocraft. It fears the micro potential of Rynus's enemy airships, but what it should be afraid of is the fact that PranksterGangster is actually still down in comparable supply, and drops are going to be so difficult to interact with and so difficult to pull off. Look at this, 3 Gatling guns and a tower over here. Look at this in the main, a tower. Look at this over in the third, a tower, and workers, and all the mech units spawning off over there. And the thing is, this is the full wall that we've come to see out of Rynus, especially in this matchup. He did it on Jade Wadi when we thought it was impossible. He did it on Stream Junction and showed a plan that we thought that was impregnable. But over here, there's a heavy drop, and actually these two airships will pass each other in the night. It's gonna be like a catastrophe bordering Hindenburg, but no, the the airship micro isn't strong enough. The ballista wasn't actually in that airship, and so the catapults are coming. They're moving, and they're going to find an interesting place to put all their Q fire on these double dens right here, if not on the even more weakened and exposed workers in all this time. Rynus is moving beautifully towards a maxed out mech army. This is what he wanted on Stream Junction the entire time, to wall off, be safe, and then take that safety, find a single lane, cut the map down by benefit of all the buildings that he builds, and those buildings would support his economy and support his production anyways. And then when he micros his macro and he makes those buildings set up in excellent Sim City, he reduces the surface area. There will just be one attack point, says Rynus, but the one attack point had the strength of trying to do some of these Q drops, and the airship went down. How many kills does it even have? These are two airships that just went down, and the airship and two catapults. They did absolutely no damage, and that's gonna hurt a little bit. Rynus is now back in supply, and the issue for PranksterGangster is he may be lulled into a false sense of confidence, but it really depends how he controls this center ring. This is the difficulty right here. If Rynus is allowed to expand anymore, then he is going to start exerting a dominating pressure all over the map. As it is, it's already very scary. Can the Beast player ever push into here? It seems unlikely, especially with buildings and towers and just the general bulkiness of this mech unit. But if PranksterGangster can control the center, if he can control these two avenues like so, then he'll be a little bit safer than he would like to be, but it looks like a good portion of his army is sitting inside of airships. And in fact, more Wolf Snake is over here on the side, and it seems like they're going to make a play towards the natural. There are two towers there, but it's all about getting the units to reposition. That's really what PranksterGangster is hoping for here, and we see more and more units moving over. Well, it's not a play for the natural, it's actually a play into the third base over here of Rynus, and all these units are getting loaded up. And what will they drop in? What will be their payload? Will their payload be pain, or will the payload be the price that they pay for being cheeky enough to think that they can harass a mech player? Look at the repair. It's going to start coming soon, and the repair actually makes it so that these Gatling guns are withstanding a ridiculous amount of punishment. How are they actually managing to do this? Yes, a huge number of units were lifted over. Is Rynus even going to move some units over? No, he just says a couple of gyrocraft are more than up to the task, but the benefit here is that those gyrocraft could be taken out by the snakes. And the problem is, despite all of the healing and despite all of the repair rate healing that's going on, some of these units are going down. The tower is going down. It does look like some of these workers are going to be focused, and then the gyrocrafts are going to go down. But meanwhile, Rynus says, I've had enough of this. While you've got about 20 supply, 30 supply tied up in a third base that I don't care about, because I'm just thriving over here on a full saturated 5-base economy, I'm going to take the center. And this is going to be the meeting of the minds and the clash of the wits, and this is going to see if the counterpunch from Rynus is too strong for the otherwise impressive straight jab over here from PranksterGangster. He needs to use surface area to his advantage, and he understands that. Units going around the top side of the ring while other wolf units split, and there's 3 sections now, and they're actually going to commit to the full engagement here as that's going on. We still have to take a look at the third base. Is there anything to mention here? No, all of these units look like they're being cleaned out. Mage's Guild is being taken out, and there's a full retreat on the part of Rynus. He says, I can't engage to this, I won't engage to this, but is it a full retreat, or is it just a tactical withdrawal? And that's not military slang for the same thing, because by doing this, he's drastically reduced the surface area. He's reduced the ability of PranksterGangster to fully surround him. There are towers up in the high ground, and the ballista are doing work up against these gyrocraft, but at the cost of the entire Wolf Snake army. He's down 50 supply now, and he's hurriedly, with all deliberate speed, with like all the effort that his fingers can muster, re-macroing back up. But the thing is, his efforts to re-macro back up are pained. He only has 4 bases. This is a very healthy 5 base economy over here from Rynus. We look at the workers, 13 more workers over here. We look at the production, and it seems that the mages are now starting to come in, and this was the piece that took almost another 5, 6, 8 minutes after this point for Rynus to get going into Stream Junction, but somehow he's doing the same thing on this map that is not supposed to be very easily push friendly for mech. He said, I'm going to make the towers. These are the builds. This is the safety. And now that I've bought the safety and proven that there's nothing to fear, well, as long as I have a tower and a couple Gatling guns and a few gyrocrafts to help, I now control the center. And this is actually panic time for PranksterGangster. If he loses the center, it's not immediately a loss, but it's not looking good. He also has a 6th base, but look at its location. What an exposed location to the center ring. If Rynus controls this center ring, the 4th and 5th bases are as good as dead over here for PranksterGangster, and he's not taking this kind of base over here that's very safe, secure, tucked on the corner, and taking advantage of speed. No, a wolf and a snake are moving over to see what they can find, and what they're actually finding is that they really wish that they were back at home, because these towers are being taken out, but at what cost? The cost of the entire army, once again, still down 40 supply as PranksterGangster, and this tower didn't, it just barely goes down, and every tower that is successfully completed and moved forward presents one more obstacle that PranksterGangster has to overcome. And look at this, now the concave is in favor of Rynus. Why does he have to retreat anymore when he can just push forward? Units are streaming forward over here on PranksterGangster, but they're just going into the mill, dying one at a time. He's still down 50 supply, and he's finally re-rallied his units towards this tower. But this is the final point that he has, because this small force is nothing in comparison to these catapults, let alone in comparison to all of these Gatling guns that are over here as well with our +2 armor and their additional damage. And what are the upgrades? What are the upgrades for the beast player? They're +2, no armor, but that doesn't much matter. What does matter is look at these wolves making some of the catapults do damage to each other. Okay, excellent, but not enough damage to each other. In fact, barely any, not nearly as much as they would like to. And this front over here with the Gatlings wasn't even cleaned up. And this line of caltrops that are set up also means that any dives now have to take a more circuitous route. They have to go more circularly. They have to come from over here and then up. But they can't really even go back, because where's the drop opportunity? There's no drop opportunity here. And now the main force, Rynus, is on the other side of the hill. And the other side of the hill is a grim place for PranksterGangster to be. He's actually just actively fighting for the high ground location, because as soon as he loses the high ground location, you know the buildings are going to come up. You know that the workers are going to build workshops that reduce the surface area. Rynus has been doing this the entire series, and he would be remiss to not do it in this occasion, but he is absolutely dominating the wolf snake. There are no dragons, and there are no werewolves. There's nothing to play for here for PranksterGangster. He's down 60 supply, and as we wait for Glaba, all PranksterGangster is waiting for is a miracle. That's right, he's looking for that vertical horizon, that creed, that lonely miracle. He's hoping that something can come of nothing over here, but the problem is that Rynus has his ideal tech. He has catapults, he has Gatling guns, he has some workers for repair, he has the high ground that you would want as a tactical advantage as mech. He even has slow field to help him, and if he ever loses high ground, I don't know how he could lose high ground, but if he ever does, he has once again these gyrocrafts that are there, putting more strain on the snakes, these snakes that are so vulnerable, that die so easily to catapult shots, and are now trying to micro and dodge and bob and weave when they get too hit by these catapults into a slow field that makes it so it's increasingly unlikely that anything is happening. And PranksterGangster isn't making a 6th base anywhere else. He isn't spending the 600 gold that he has. It looks like he's trying desperately and fervently to figure out what he can do and what kind of micro he can get into. This tower is going to fall, and because the high ground is now completely secured over here on the part of Rynus with no counterplay seemingly for PranksterGangster, it looks like, how in the world is PranksterGangster going to stop this? Look at this. He can't go around easily anymore. There are just so many towers. Caltrops as a setup. There's even flying units helping, and this is only Wolf Snake, and there's slow fields now. Now that the angle of attack is only one angle. Now that things are working out in such a way that there is only one point to fight, and Rynus is saying, you must fight here. This is the base, you must fight here. And so the question is, what will PranksterGangster do? What is he going to do to try and clutch out the series? Can he even try anything to clutch out the series? He is down 70 supply, and his economy has been put absolutely to sleep. because that's one base down. Is this other base going to be long for this world? I don't think so, but does PranksterGangster even worry about that? No, I think the entire state of the game is way more concerning to him right now. This is still Rynus fully maxed out. This is still Rynus. He's got all of his tech, and the first dragons are popping out, and a couple more dragons there, and I think that PranksterGangster was trying to transition in the middle of that fight, which is why his supply is down the way that it is, but I don't think there's going to be time for that to actually be rewarded. I think even just the catapults alone would be enough to win this game for Rynus, but it's not just the catapults, it's the workers helping them, and it's not just the workers repairing them, there's also the Gatling guns at the front, it's a shield, and all of the pressure that the snakes have to absorb, because they're the only thing besides ballista that can deal with these flying units. And then the icing on the cake, the creme de la creme, the piece de resistance, is the fact that these mages have slow field, and they can always control how the fight goes and how the surround goes, and this is the kind of surround that PranksterGangster is going to want. But unfortunately, Rynus is showing that the units for mech are more than capable of dealing with the disparity in movement speed. What's your movement speed, he asks, if you have no units? What's your movement speed, he asks, if they have their movement speed cut by 90%, and almost a BM slow field over here, overshadowing the castle with its blue dim light that threatens that blue is going to continue to dominate this game. The airship has 2 ballistas in it, but there's only a couple of gyrocraft. These aren't the units that PranksterGangster so desperately wants, and when the airship goes down and everything is attacking now from only one front, is there anything to play for? No, it doesn't look like so, and this is just going to be PranksterGangster trying to buy time. He's hoping for the dragons to pop out. There are 3 dragons coming, and he could turn this around, because the only units that are able to hit air right now that are still alive are the mages who are unupgraded and these ballista, and I think that's what PranksterGangster is gunning for. He's hoping that he can clean up this entire army, and a miracle it would be if he could do that, but if he does clean up this entire army, the reward would be sweet. He's managed to keep this base over here so far, and he would be able to reestablish the reestablish this base, and then be able to reestablish the base in a corner somewhere, but I know that PranksterGangster is waiting for the pivotal moment. He's already revealed the dragons. One of them's been chunked pretty low to about 2/3 of its health. And is this castle under threat? No, this castle's about to be eradicated like the turn pages of history. And this is the point. PranksterGangster realizes he has to go now. He sits all the dragons and he tries to split them up as best as he can. It looks like he's actually focus firing the ballista. The problem with focus firing the ballista, of course, there's workers here to repair. Fireball even to stop PranksterGangster and soften up these workers trying to do the surround, and there is this attempt finally at a full 360 surround, but unfortunately it doesn't look like PranksterGangster has the units that he needs. It looks like there are just a couple too many ballista, even if this ballista goes down, and it does. There are 2 more ballista, but those are the only units that hit air other than these mages, and if PranksterGangster is very, very careful with his micro, he can probably take down those ballista, but that's not even a solution anymore. Look at this castle. This is the 4th base for PranksterGangster going down, and it's almost impressive and amazing to see just how many castles Rynus has built. Look at this. Since when has a mech player dominated half of a map such as Sylvan Charm in this fashion, this tournament? It certainly hasn't happened, and the dragons are coming from all sides. Now this would be an excellent pickup. It's not that Rynus is impervious, it's not that the game isn't looking dire for PranksterGangster, but if there is a way with no workers present for him to take out all the ballista, to split his units and not lose too many of these dragons, then it's possible that he would be able to go ahead and do some damage to this army and get some recompense, but I don't think it's very likely. Look, there is only 1 ballista left, true, and only mages, and this army knows that it has to retreat, but it has plenty of safety to retreat to if it can just get to the towers. There's a couple of gyrocraft here who would love to be beneficial and would love to prove their worth, and even if this last, and with the 4th base gone and the 5th base gone, PranksterGangster is down to a 3-base economy. I mean, no, make that a 2-base economy. No, is it even? No, it's basically a 1-base economy. He only has 1,500 gold left in the bank, and the income disparity is absolutely huge. The supply disparity is absolutely huge, and here, just showing that he has nothing to fear. Another troop of these red-capped workers coming over to repair everything. We look at the supply difference, half the supply for PranksterGangster. We look at the income difference. Yes, there's about a 2,800 gold mine difference, but inconceivably It's actually in the favor of Rynus. He's mined more. We look at the loss, and we expect losses for the Beast player in this matchup that exceed those of the Mech player, but we don't expect a 9,000 gold disparity between the two of them, and with 3,000 more mined gold and 9,000 fewer losses, that's a 13,000 gold net gain over there on the part of Rynus. The dominance can hardly be asserted any more strongly, and what is he building? Yet more armor to press the issue and make things even more difficult. The economy has been strapped for PranksterGangster, and his loss has also been strapped in, secured like a seatbelt for a small child. GG to Rynus.